Welcome to English Practice Everyday. In Lesson 4, I explained how to make complex sentences out of simple sentences by expanding 4 main chunks of a sentence with the use of word groups. I also promised you that we would practice lots of word groups for you to master them. Before moving to practice word groups, in this lesson, I want to explain how to pronounce the collection of words within word groups so that while we practice and master word groups, we will also master their correct pronunciations to sound like native speakers. Here is the trick. For the words to go smoothly, I suggest treating a group of words, that is, word groups, as a single word, where the end of one word flows into the beginning of the next without pauses. For example, got better would become got better and is pronounced as got better. Again, got better would become got better and would be pronounced as got better. Sit up would become sit up, pronounced as sit up. Sit up would become sit up, pronounced as sit up. Why these are pronounced so, I'll explain later in this video. Go easy would become go easy. Blue sky would become blue sky. This will require a lot of practice and familiarity with word combinations and how words connect together. I call this word connection. Now, given that English language alphabets are divided into 2 sections, 21 consonants and 5 vowels, we obviously arrive at 4 types of word connections between 2 words: consonant-consonant, consonant-vowel, vowel-vowel, and vowel-consonant. Among these, the last one, vowel-consonant connection, is the easiest for non-native speakers. For example, see you would become see you. No problem would become no problem. Be careful would become be careful. She said would become she said. Problem for non-native English speakers like yourself is they often struggle with the first 3 types of word connections when speaking continuously. That is, consonant-consonant, consonant-vowel, and vowel-vowel. Moving smoothly from the end of one word to the beginning of the next word becomes challenging, causing stumbling over the sounds in these connections. This is the main reason why non-native English speakers, despite having good knowledge of the language, cannot speak fluently. Let's take first word connection, consonant-consonant, where word ending in a consonant comes first and a word beginning with a consonant comes later. For example, big project, pronounced as big project. Again, big project, pronounced as big project. This is easy, but the real problem is when you have to make the sounds of p, b, t, d, k, and g, g as in go, connect with the sounds of the same or other consonants. For example, big gap, pronounced as big gap instead of big gap. Again, big gap, pronounced as big gap instead of big gap. Map plan, pronounced as map plan instead of map plan. Mob boss, pronounced as mob boss instead of mob boss. Wood door, pronounced as wood door instead of wood door. Look kind, pronounced as look kind instead of look kind. Got tight, pronounced as got tight instead of got tight. Here, both connecting consonants are same, hence they flow into each other, making one impactful sound for both. Big gap, map plan, mob boss, would door, look kind, got tied, etc. Don't worry, we will practice a lot of such word groups with correct pronunciations. Also keep in mind to avoid bringing any other sound between these two consonants like big gap, bigger gap, map plan, plan, mob boss, boss, wood door, wood door, look kind, kind, got tight, tight. All these are wrong pronunciations of these word groups. Now, next in consonant-consonant connection is when two letters in first word are consonants, like gift pack, pronounced as gift pack. Again, gift pack, pronounced as gift pack. Left side, pronounced as left side. Left side, pronounced as left side. Most people, pronounced as most people. Most people, most people. Kept pushing, pronounced as kept pushing. Kept pushing, pronounced as kept pushing. Why is this so? When a word ends with two consonants, with ending consonant being t or t, you can safely push it onto next word, omitting t or t completely. Again, don't worry, we will practice a lot of such words. Same goes for when ed is joined to the sounds p, ch, k, f, s, and sh. Ed is d, is to be pronounced as t, and not as d or as id. For example, asked, pronounced as asked, and not as asked or asked. Again, asked, pronounced as asked, not as asked or asked. So, asked for is pronounced as asked for, would become asked for. Again, asked for, pronounced as asked for, would become ask for, completely omitting the t sound. Ask for. Hoped, pronounced as hoped and not hoped. Hoped, pronounced as hoped and not hoped. So, hoped nothing, pronounced as hoped nothing, and would become hope nothing. Again, hoped nothing, pronounced as hoped nothing, and would become hope nothing. Few more examples. Stopped making, pronounced as stopped making, and would become stop making. Again, stopped making, pronounced as stopped making, and would become stop making. Walked beyond, pronounced as walked beyond, and would become walk beyond. This rule changes when ed is joined to the sounds b, j, g, and the sound of th in the, and z as in zebra. Here, ed is pronounced as d and not as t, as in earlier rule, and certainly not id or ud. For example, mobbed, pronounced as mobbed and not mopped or mobbed or mobbed. Mobbed is pronounced as mobbed and not mopped or mobbed or mobbed. So, mobbed them, pronounced as mobbed them. Mobbed them, pronounced as mobbed them. Begged, pronounced as begged and not begged or begged or begged. So, begged for is pronounced as beg for. Begged for is pronounced as beg for. Seized control is pronounced as seize control. Seized control is pronounced as seize control. Another pronunciation rule that we will practice is after d and t, ed is pronounced as id. Again, after d and t, ed is pronounced as id. Raided pronounced as raided. Raided pronounced as raided. Guarded is pronounced as guarded. Guarded is pronounced as guarded. Succeeded is pronounced as succeeded. Succeeded is pronounced as succeeded. Waited is pronounced as waited. Again, waited is pronounced as waited. Again, don't worry and don't feel overwhelmed. We will practice lot of such word groups with accurate pronunciations. I am telling you all this right now to avoid any confusion later on when we start our practice. Now let's move on to consonant-vowel connections. This is easy. We just have to push the consonant onto the vowel. For example, keep every is pronounced as keep every. Again, keep every is pronounced as keep every. Keep every. Stop adding is pronounced as stop adding. Stop adding is pronounced as stop adding. Cheap artist is pronounced as cheap artist. Cheap artist is pronounced as cheap artist. Again, we will practice lot of such word groups later on. So for now, just keep this rule in mind. And lastly, the vowel-vowel connection. Remember, we are dealing with sounds and not letters. So word boy, although ends with letter Y, a consonant, the sound is actually boy, B-O-I. That is, the sound ends with a vowel I. Same goes for words busy. Sound is busy. I colon is just long sound, like in word tree. Tree. Similarly, word cry, sound is cry, ends with vowel I, and word way, sound is way, ends with I. I hope I have cleared the difference between sound and letter. Now, what happens when we need to connect two vowels? For example, boy actually, pronounced as boy actually. But instead of saying it like this, we will add a soft Y between these two. Boy actually. Boy actually. It is a very minute difference in sound. Boy actually. Another example. Tree alone, pronounced as tree alone. But instead we will say tree alone. Tree alone. Just a soft Y added in between. If all this is confusing you, don't worry. I will clear these rules again when we practice. Now let's move to words ending in sounds U, OU, short U or O. Here sound U is not from union or usual, but from good, pronounced as good. Here U is a short sound and U colon is long sound, like in word true. True. For example, who asked, pronounced as who asked, but instead we will add a little W in between these two vowels. Who asked, who asked. Another example, argue about, pronounced as argue about, argue about, but instead we will say argue about, argue about. Why all this complexity, you may ask? Answer is, this just makes speech more fluent. And finally, just one last rule of vowel-vowel connection. When word ends with sound A and another word starts with sound I, as in area is, here again we will add a soft Y in between two vowels. So it is pronounced as area is. Area is. And when both sounds are A, as in America asked or China admitted, we will just push one onto other. So the words will be pronounced as Americast, Americast. China admitted, China admitted. Americast, China admitted. Please don't worry about all these rules. Everything will be clear to you as we start to practice. For now, if you feel confused, just go through this lesson one more time. And that's all for this session. In the next few videos, we will practice all these word groups with correct pronunciations. And bye for now.